What books have I been reading during my absence this summer? Let's find out together. So hi and welcome back, my fellow fantasy book lovers, or if you're new here, hi and welcome. My name is Kathy and I'm a goth girl from Belgium who loves reading fantasy books. For today's video, I have to admit that it has been a long time since I actually made any videos that I sat down to record, and one of the reasons is that the summer holidays caught me by accident. They were a lot more chaotic and busy than I anticipated, so I did not really have any time to sit down and make videos for you guys, unfortunately. So I read 11 books this summer and let's talk about them. So let's get started with the only book that I read in the month of June. This was The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers. We have a setup of a girl who lives with her two uncles in their family estate, and her mom has been gone. She doesn't know if she's dead, if she's been missing, if anything else, but something weird, magical is going on around her. So she's basically pulled into this story, finding out where her mom is and finding the famous city of Stardust. This is a mythical city, and this world building, magical creatures like angels have been merged with the human world. And as an urban fantasy book, this was quite okay, but I felt like the plot got completely lost. In the majority of the book, everything they talk about is this girl's mother, how important her mother has been, what her mother has done. Everything goes back to her mother, for then the book to end without anything about her mother was just infuriating. I did not particularly love this book, that's why I gave it a grand total of 2 stars. There was so much potential and I think it's very unfortunate. I had 2 special editions of this. I had the Waterstone special edition and also the Fairy Loot or Illumicrate one, and I just decided to get rid of all of my versions of this book. This is not a book that I would ever recommend to anyone, and it's really making me rethink how the selections for Fairy Loot and Illumicrate are made, because so many of the books that I've read that I had from their subscription have really not been things that I enjoy. So yeah, but that's a whole different thing. Up next, we get to an arc that I received through the Nerd Fam. I am fortunate enough to be part of their arc reading system, and the book that I read during the month of July was Bound in Violet Ink. This was a novella. It is a setup where you have letters being written from one character in the book to the other. The one character is this Seelie adopted princess. She's not really heir to the throne, but she's really not being treated well by the people that she lives with. So they have adopted her as their child, but she's not being raised as their daughter. So she's mainly with her father, or the person that she needs to call father, but he's not really. So yeah, that's the girl of the equation. They are both adults, I need to mention, and the other person is this Unseelie prince that has been captured by the Seelie court and he's been held captive. And she starts writing him, not expecting responses in return, but he actually starts replying to her, and at the end they actually meet each other. So this is a romantasy book for sure. It's not the heaviest book or the deepest book, but if you want a quick and easy palate cleanser, I actually really enjoyed this solely for that purpose, and I gave it 4 stars because it wasn't a big book and it did tell a good story, so that's why I gave it 4 stars. I also really enjoyed the letter writing style of book. I really liked it because you get a dual POV, but you also get the letters, which is something that I really enjoyed. Maybe I should start writing letters myself again. That would be interesting. Up next, we have The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. And fun fact, I actually bought the physical version of this book on holiday and started reading it on holiday. And I was so pleasantly surprised by how good this book was. In our setup, we have the 2 main characters. We have a girl who is a healer. So we have this world where magic is the same as your blood flow system. Everyone has it, but going through school and learning different ways how to do magic, and you unlock your full potential by getting a tattoo on your hand that then gives you extra powers in the thing that you have been taught in. So the Helans, I think they have a sort of swan on their hands. And on the other side, we have this evil spy type character who is losing his powers and who needs or wants to be healed by this healer. But he has a kind of like dog or hound tattoo, and he's the evil, he's the dark side. So they are quite opposite. Now, he actually goes to bribe her. She is totally like not taking any of his shit and doesn't want to get bribed. But then like, her matron kind of character comes in and she's like, okay, give us more money because they desperately need money to work on treatment for something completely different. So it's like she's being set up to do this. She doesn't want to do it out of her free will. So she does it, but she's trying all these ways to make his life miserable. And he's really trying also to make hers miserable as well. So we have this constant bickering between the two main characters, which I found really enjoyable, but there's also more going on. So you will discover that, okay, she needs to heal him and they're trying to find ways for this because she's the only expert in like healing the magic pathways in systems. So it's like we go through different types of magic. We see witches, we see other creatures in this book as well. I really enjoyed it. And I'm really happy that there's going to be a second book pretty soon as well. This was obviously not like the most out there epic high fantasy book ever. So for me, it didn't feel worthy of a 5 stars, but I would have given it 4.5 if there was like a half point system, because I did really like the world building, the main characters, everything around it. I really enjoyed the magic system as well. So this book is a 4 stars, but it's a 4.5 stars. And the more I think about it, the more I should maybe give it a 5 stars anyways. Then we have another arc that I got thanks to the Nerd Fam. I really tried to catch up with a few arcs that I have. And this one was called The Midnight Witch House. And it was promoted as a paranormal romance with vampires and witches. This didn't quite meet my expectations, and I will explain what this book is about. So we have, at the start, we follow Persephone for the millionth time that this name is used. They shorten it to Steph. She's an orphan, so she lives with a family that's just taken her in, but she knows that like once she turns 18, she's gonna be kicked out. She has to pay the family as well, like she's not in a good spot. And one day she gets a letter telling her that, hey, you've actually still got family and one of them passed away and you might inherit things, but you need to show up to like where they talk about the inheritance thing. I don't know the name exactly. So she is trying to get there. There was supposedly money in the invitation, but the family has taken all of the money out. So she's just like trying to manage to get there. So when she gets there to like get the will like read out, she actually will inherit a house and a lot of money, but there are a few conditions that she needs to meet. First, she has to get rid of a curse that is on the house, if I'm not mistaken. She has to go to a magical school. Like there's a few elements. And this girl, up to going there, doesn't know she has any magical powers at all. So this is like a totally different world for her. When going to see the house, there's a lot of things happening. And basically, somehow she's set up with a vampire bodyguard. And the connection between the two of them I found a little too fast and a little too insta-love, so do expect that. There isn't a lot happening like sexually between the two of them until the end of the book. So the girl ends up going to like this school, trying to get in. There is a whole bunch of things happening. She needs to find a specific gem and stuff. So like there's a lot going on, and I felt that the book felt a little YA. There is a lot of found family. There is also like this house. And for me, it wasn't the worst book that I've ever read. It wasn't the best book I've ever read. It's a little bit of mid, and that's okay. Some people might really enjoy this because they connect more to the main character, but for me, it didn't really work as well. So this was a good book, but not a great book. Hence why I gave it 3 stars. I think maybe I'm too old for this book because the main character is a little bit younger than me as well, and it felt a little bit young to me as well. So maybe I've just gotten old and maybe my reading taste is not what everyone likes, because you will see from the last book on my list that, yeah, we'll see when we get there. So The Midnight Witch House for me was a 3-star read, and I would recommend it to you if you enjoy the like found family from an orphan and then going through trials to build something new again. So feel free to give it a try if this sounds like something you might enjoy. And thank you again so much to the Nerd Fam for including me on their like ARC mailing list, because I have never been able to like pick and choose which ARCs I wanted to read, and every time I apply for something, or nearly all the time, I get approved, and it's really nice because it allows me to discover more new books. Up next is a book that took me by surprise by how good it was. Last year or early this year, I read The Spell Shop, and I really enjoyed it. So when book 2 in this series came out, which is called The Enchanted Greenhouse, I had high expectations. And this book exceeded those expectations. Now you could read both of them separately, or you can read them as a whole in a series. It does have some characters from book 1 who make a small like side note appearance in book 2, but it's not like you have to have read The Spell Shop to read The Enchanted Greenhouse or vice versa. Now in this book we start up with a statue being de-statuified because it's actually a living person who was turned into a statue. And she is on an island where there are a lot of enchanted greenhouses, as the title says. But something is going on with those greenhouses, and the hopes of the person that maintains the greenhouses is that this person who was de-statuified can help them. This is cozy fantasy at its best. It is found family. It is everything and more that I hoped for it. It is magic in such a sweet and caring way as well. Like, there are some bad aspects in this book. Like, there are certainly challenges, but I felt like the cozy vibes were always there. The world wasn't ending, although some things were ending, but it was really good. I really loved it. I also loved the little, it's not really a plot twist at the end, but like finding the solution. Like, I really enjoyed how everything came together. So if you're looking for a good cozy fantasy this fall, I could highly recommend The Enchanted Greenhouse. Up next, we have another cozy fantasy romance. This book is called The Phoenix Keeper, and we literally follow a phoenix keeper. We are following our female main character who works in a zoo, and she attends a certain type of phoenixes. So this world is a combination of magical and non-magical. There are some magical elements in the world that I wish we had. And basically in this zoo there is one female phoenix, and they are hoping to set her up in like a breeding program for there to be a male phoenix introduced, etc. This book has a lot of like smaller ups and downs with our main character, with the phoenixes, with the zoo. And honestly, I was really like surprised by some of the elements in it. I really liked the ending as well. So if you're into a fantasy romance, cozy fantasy type with a zoo setting, I think you will love this book. And I gave it a 4 stars because The Enchanted Greenhouse to me felt like the perfect fantasy romance, but still some story. With the Phoenix Keeper, I felt like, okay, I cared, but I didn't care like I did in The Enchanted Greenhouse. Up next, we have a book that has been on my shelves for quite a long time, and it is Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb. This book was not what I hoped it would be. The setup sounds amazing. You have this human world, like medieval setup more or less, and then you have another world in which dragons exist. And these two worlds are kind of like intertwined, connected to each other, and that is the super interesting part about this book. And that was, unfortunately for me, the only interesting part about this book. There is the use of magic in this world as well, so our main character is kind of like a thief, and we start out the book with him doing something that is like really not okay in this world, like magic-wise. We learn a lot about our main character, but I do not mind a non-binary queer person being the main character, but the way it was described and the way it was continuously shoved down our throats If this would have been the other way around, if this would have been a cis white male character, they would not ever have put the accent this heavily on them being a white cis character. So why would you do it the other way around when it's a queer non-binary character? I do not care, honestly. For me, a character can be big, small, tall, young, old, as long as the writing of the book is well and the use of like the character's name, etc. is well done. I could not care less. If the book is well written, if the character makes sense in the book, I don't care. So instead of using their name, which would have been like the obvious and easy solution, no, they kept being like giving nudges to them being neither this nor that. Why? Why? Because this totally ruins the entire series for me. I actually recently purchased the second book and I am getting rid of both of them. I am not ever going to read the second book and I'm honestly disappointed because this book gets such good critiques online and a lot of people have been very enthusiastic about it, and I just simply, because of the way that some things were written, I could not get into it. I could not enjoy this book as much. And it's a real shame because I did love like the dragon world with the human world and the connection and how it all works together. I loved that. So it's very unfortunate that some parts of the book killed it for me. So that is the reason that Dragonfall still is getting a 3 stars, because the overall world building magic systems I did really enjoy. It's just that some things about the main character really got on my nerves, and by the end of the book I was really happy that I was done with it. Up next we had book 3 in the A to the Villain series. So we had Assistant to the Villain, Apprentice to the Villain, and now we have Accomplice to the Villain. And honestly, I give this book a 3 stars because I really like the vibe and the humor in these books, but honestly I'm over the story because they're milking it out. Like, barely anything happens in this book. I was so frustrated. Like, if I didn't enjoy the other 2 books as much, I would have DNF'd this book. And it's really making me reconsider. I think I have the same thing with Fourth Wing. Like, authors, once their first book or books pick up, they try to extend the series, but it's not always necessary. And that is 100% what I'm having with this particular series right now. I just want it to be over. I want there to be a happy conclusion ending. I want there to be a little bit of smut between the 2 main characters, like finally have something happening. It's not giving me what I want from these books, and there are very high chances if she tells us, oh, book 4, then, but there will be a book 5, that I won't read it. And that I will get rid of my 3 physical copies of the first 3 books, because I'm kind of done with this series at this point. Also, on my holiday, I picked up Rewitched, and this is a cozy fantasy that is perfect for fall, honestly. It is about a witch that is living in a normal world. She's trying to integrate. She works in a bookshop. Like, working in a bookshop is always amazing. And she doesn't know it yet, but at her 30th birthday, she'll actually go to trials to prove if she's worthy of keeping her magical powers. Now, for several reasons, she doesn't know this at the start of the book, because she has not read into the grimoire that she was given and some other things as well that you will discover during the book. However, when she goes to trial, it is like sure that she has some magical talent, but during her judging, as we're gonna call it, some things also pop up that make it seem like maybe she's not worthy of keeping her powers. And do note that she is the second witch warlock ever into the existence of this coven to possibly not keep their powers. And we talk about this other person a little bit as well. So she's set up with someone who needs to guide her through the process to gaining her powers back. Now, it is not the world is gonna end type situation. Although something really epic happens near the end of the book, there is, of course, a romance plot that you can see happening from miles away. I just really enjoyed this. I also really enjoyed that our main character is like dirty in the book, and it made sense to me, and it was a fun read. I would highly recommend this book if you would love to read a cozy fantasy book about a witch working in a bookstore and having a double life with her magical powers, and then how it all clashes and comes together. And I gave this book a 4 stars. Another novella that I read to try and get back on track with the books that I'm reading is The Bloodless Princess by Charlotte Bond. The first one I read last year, and I cannot remember the name, and I don't have the book here because it's my partner's. It is a very small hardcover. I will put this title on screen here. Book 2 definitely follows on book 1, and I just wish that authors in next books would have like a small introduction. This is this character, this name is this character, she's the brother or the sister or whatever. Just a very small, like, who is who at the beginning of the book, because I started out confused with the names, with there being no explanation at all. I was just like, who is this again? But I did end up really quite enjoying this book. It was not what I wanted from it or what I hoped it would be. It told another take on a mythological tale of the underworld and princes and stuff. So it's not a bad book by any means, but I did enjoy the dragon part of it most. Yeah, I want there to be a book about the dragon in this book. That's all I'm saying. I know Charlotte Bond is coming out with more books in this series. I don't know when or where. We'll see if I get them. My partner does really enjoy them, so I think he's gonna get the hardcovers because he has all of them so far. So maybe I'll read them if he reads them, so we have more books to talk about. But yeah, it's something that if it kind of piques your interest with book 1, you can of course continue, but if not, you're honestly not missing out on something. And I gave this a 3-star rating. And then the final book is the first book that I've ever read by Holly Black. This author I've seen everywhere, and I actually read the wrong book by mistake. Now, the thing is, I have a bookshelf full of books, and I pulled out one of the books, but then I saw I had it on my e-reader, or so I thought. The book I pulled out of my shelves was The Stolen Heir, and the book that I actually ended up reading was The Cruel Prince, because the covers are very, very similar, and I just didn't notice. So I read The Cruel Prince, and this is definitely YA fantasy. We have this fae fairy world and then humans being pulled into this world. So the start of this book is very heavy and very intense. We literally have a family set up in a house where someone from the fae realm comes in, kills the parents and takes away the 3 children. And then we get into where they are now in this fae world and how they've been like getting along, etc. Now, the fae and fairies in this book have not been romanticized, but not really, like, it's a bit hit and miss for me. Like, some of the characters were obviously too nice and some other characters obviously had flaws. Like, I get it, and it really felt like a YA book. So if you are younger than me, or if you enjoy YA fantasy more, then you might really enjoy this book. For me, I saw the ending of the book happening very early on. Yeah, I wasn't impressed by it. It was an okay read. It wasn't the best read. It's also not a super long book, and it reads very smoothly and fast. I read this on the train, I think, in 2 days. So in about 4 to 5 hours, I think I finished this book. It was okay, and that's why I'm giving it a 3 stars. Feel free to let me know in the comments down below what you have read this summer and which books you would highly recommend to me, because I'm, of course, always looking for more books to read. If you enjoyed this video and if you're happy that I'm back, give this video a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you'd like to be, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to aim to make 2 videos a month, and I would love to have you for every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching, and happy reading. Bye!